During Thanksgiving dinner, I overheard my parents plotting to give my sister's family my $305,000 investment portfolio. I smiled, nodded along, then liquidated everything and disappeared. 107 missed calls. I heard my mother's voice before I even turned the corner into the dining room. Sarah's portfolio is just sitting there doing nothing productive, she was saying, her tone dripping with that particular blend of righteousness and greed I'd learned to recognize over 30 years. She's single, no kids, no responsibilities. Meanwhile, Jennifer and Mark are drowning in debt with 3 children to feed. I stopped cold in the hallway, the pumpkin pie I'd picked up from the bakery suddenly feeling like lead in my hands. Through the partially open door, I could see them all gathered around the table. My younger sister Jennifer, her husband Mark, my parents, all leaning in like conspirators planning a heist. "But it's Sarah's money," Jennifer said, though her voice carried more hope than protest. "She earned it. Earned it." My father laughed, the sound bitter. "She got lucky with some tech stocks. Meanwhile, you and Mark work honest jobs, raise 3 beautiful children, and can barely make ends meet. Where's the justice in that? I'm a financial analyst at Blackstone Investments. I didn't get lucky. I spent 7 years working 90-hour weeks, analyzing market trends, building models, making calculated risks that paid off. That $350,000 portfolio started with $30,000 I'd saved from my first 3 years of work, eating ramen, living with 4 roommates in a shoebox apartment in Manhattan while my sister lived at home rent-free through her 20s. If we can get access to her accounts," Mark said, "we could pay off the house, clear the credit cards, finally breathe." She'd never even notice. She barely looks at her statements. My mother's voice dropped to a whisper, but I heard every word. "Sarah gave me emergency access to her accounts 5 years ago, remember? When she was traveling through Southeast Asia and wanted someone who could handle things if something happened." My blood ran cold. I had done that. Trusted my own mother with power of attorney, with access codes, with emergency authorization, because family was supposed to be safe. "You still have access?" Jennifer's voice pitched higher with excitement. "I never revoked it," Mom said. "She probably forgot I even have it. She's so busy with work, so caught up in her career. She doesn't need it like you do. The money would be better used giving your children opportunities, a good education, stability." "It's not stealing," my father added. His voice had that attorney logic tone he used when he was rationalizing something he knew was wrong. He'd been a corporate lawyer for 30 years before retiring. "It's redistribution within a family. Sarah will inherit money someday anyway. This just moves the timeline up. Helps when it's actually needed. She's going to London next week," Mom continued. "Some conference for work. She'll be gone 10 days. We could move the money into Jennifer's account, pay off the debts, and by the time Sarah notices, if she even notices, it'll be too late. What's she going to do, sue her own family?" I stood there, Thanksgiving pie in hand, listening to my family, prod me. Not strangers, not criminals, my parents, my sister, the people who were supposed to love me. I took a breath, arranged my face into a smile, and walked into the room. "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone." The guilty silence was deafening. 4 faces snapped toward me, eyes wide, mouths open. Then, like watching skilled actors, they transformed. Smiles bloomed, arms opened. Welcome, warmth, false affection. "Sarah, honey!" Mom jumped up, practically running to take the pie. You made it! We were just talking about you." "I bet you were," I said, keeping my voice light, cheerful. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic from the city was murder." I set down my bag and coat, watching them all scramble to look natural. Jennifer wouldn't meet my eyes. Burke suddenly became very interested in his phone. Dad started carving the turkey with exaggerated focus. "So," I said, settling into my chair. "What were you all discussing?" I heard my name. "Oh, nothing important," Mom waved dismissively. "Just saying how proud we are of you, how well you're doing." "Oh, that's sweet," I smiled at Jennifer. "How are the kids?" "Good, great. They're with Mark's parents today. We wanted an adult Thanksgiving for once." She laughed nervously, finally looking at me. "You know how it is." I didn't, actually. I'd never been invited to the Thanksgivings with the kids. Those were family only, and apparently I didn't qualify. But the Thanksgiving where they needed to plot stealing from me, that one I made the cut for. We made it through dinner with painful small talk. Jennifer asked about my London trip. I told them all about the conference, the hotel, how excited I was. I watched Mom and Dad exchange glances, watched Mark's jaw tighten with what looked like resolve. They were really going to do it. After dinner, I excused myself to the bathroom. Instead, I went upstairs to my father's office and quietly closed the door. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and called Richard Morrison, my attorney. We'd gone to Colombia together, been friends for a decade. Rich, I need help. Right now, Sarah. It's Thanksgiving. What's wrong? I told him everything. Heard the sharp intake of breath on the other end. Her own mother has PO access. Emergency only, but yes, full account access if she uses it. Jesus Christ. Okay, here's what we do. We need to lock everything down before they can move. Can you get somewhere private with your laptop? I'm there now. Pull up your accounts, all of them. We're going to initiate a complete portfolio transfer to a new firm. I'll call Watkins and Associates. They do after-hours emergency transfers for situations exactly like this. Meanwhile, you need to revoke your mother's access immediately. My fingers flew across the keyboard. What if she's already set something up? What if there's a delayed transfer scheduled? Computer, and call me from there. We're going to spend the night moving your entire financial life. I hung up and stared at the office around me. Family photos on the walls, my graduation picture from Colombia, Jennifer's wedding photo, the grandkids in matching Christmas sweaters. A family that looked normal, happy, functional. All of it a lie. I went back downstairs, pressed my hand to my stomach, and put on my best sick face. I'm so sorry, I don't feel well. Something I ate, maybe. I think I need to go home. Mom's face fell. Oh, honey, are you sure? It's so far back to the city. I really think I should. I grabbed my coat. I'm sorry to cut out early. Jennifer looked almost relieved. Dad walked me to the door with forced concern. Drive safe, sweetheart. Feel better? I drove home, going exactly the speed limit, hands tight on the wheel, fighting the urge to scream. My phone rang twice, Mom checking if I made it home safe. I didn't answer. The moment I walked into my apartment, I opened my laptop and called Richard back. What followed was the most intensive 8 hours of my financial life. Richard connected me with Sandra Watkins, a securities attorney who specialized in emergency asset protection. Together, we systematically dismantled every connection my family had to my money. First, revoked Mom's power of attorney. That required notarized documents, submitted electronically to my bank with emergency processing. Second, initiated a complete portfolio transfer from Blackstone to Watkins and Associates Preferred Custodian, Northern Trust. Every stock, every bond, every mutual fund moved under new account numbers with new passwords and biometric security. Third, changed every password, every security question, every piece of account information. Set up alerts for any access attempts. Fourth, called my bank and credit card companies, flagged my accounts for fraud monitoring, added verbal passwords required for any telephone transactions. By 4 a.m., my entire financial life had been moved to a fortress. Sandra walked me through the final steps. Sarah, you need to understand something. What they were planning, that's financial exploitation. If they'd succeeded, you could have pressed charges. This isn't just family drama, this is a crime. I know. Are you going to report them? I thought about it. My mother in handcuffs. My father, the lawyer, disbarred. Jennifer losing her kids to CCs during an investigation. No, I said finally. But I'm not giving them the chance to try again. Smart. Keep all documentation, record everything. If they escalate, you'll have evidence. I slept 3 hours and woke up to 17 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Jennifer, even Mark. I ignored them all and went to work. Was assured for PMER, the London conference was in 5 days. I spent them preparing but not for work. I met with Richard and Sandra twice more. We built a legal wall around me. Sandra asked the hard question. What's your endgame here? They're going to realize they can't access your accounts. They'll confront you. Let them. And then what? Then I tell them the truth, that I know, that I protected myself, that I'm done. Done meaning what? I looked at her. Done being the family atom. Done being the successful one who's supposed to share. Done pretending we're close when they only see me as a resource to exploit. Richard leaned forward. Sarah, I've known you 10 years. I've never seen you this cold. I'm not cold, I'm clear. There's a difference. The Sunday before my London trip, they invited me to brunch. Family meeting, Dad called it. I knew what it was. The intervention, the pitch, the manipulation. I went anyway. They were all there. Mom, Dad, Jennifer, Mark, sitting around the table in my parents' dining room like a tribunal. I took my seat, coffee in hand, and waited. Dad cleared his throat. Sarah, we wanted to talk to you about something important. Your sister and Mark are in a difficult financial situation. I'm aware, right? Well, we've been thinking, you've been so blessed in your career, so fortunate, and we're incredibly proud of you. But, I sipped my coffee, Mom jumped in. But family helps family. You have resources that could change Jennifer's life, the kids' lives. A little help from you could mean everything to them. How much help? They exchanged glances. Jennifer spoke up, voice small. We owe $18,000, the house, the cars, credit cards, medical bills from Emma's surgery last year. If we could just clear that debt, we could start over. I hindi $1,000, I repeated. You want me to give you $18,000? Not give, Mark said quickly. A loan. We'd pay you back. When? Silence. How? I pressed. You can't make your current debt payments. How would you pay me back? Over time, Dad said. Your family doesn't need contracts and payment plans. You help them now, they help you later. Like how Jennifer helped me when I was working 3 jobs to pay for grad school while she lived at home rent-free. That kind of help? Mom's face flushed. That's not fair. Jennifer was finding herself. She was 27. Sarah, Dad's voice sharpened. We're not here to relitigate the past. We're asking you, as family, to help your sister. I set down my coffee. No, you could hear a pin drop. What? Jennifer's voice cracked. No, I'm not giving you money. I'm not loaning you money. I'm not clearing your debt. You selfish, Mark started, but Dad held up a hand. Sarah, think about what you're saying. This is your sister, your nephews and niece. I'm thinking about how I overheard you at Thanksgiving, all of you, planning to steal from me. Mom went white. We weren't. You were going to use your PO access to transfer my money into Jennifer's account without asking, while I was out of the country. You called it redistribution within the family, remember? Jennifer started crying. Mark stared at the table. Dad's face turned purple. How dare you accuse us of, Mom began. I recorded it, I lied smoothly. I have the whole conversation on my phone. I've already shared it with my attorney. That was the nuclear option. Dad, the lawyer, knew exactly what that meant. You're bluffing, he said, but his voice shook. Try me? Try to access my accounts. See what happens. We would never. You already planned to, so I made it impossible. I've moved everything, changed everything. You have zero access to anything of mine ever again. Mom's face crumpled. How can you do this to family? How can you? I stood up. You raised me to work hard, be responsible, save money. I did all of that, and the second I had something worth taking, you decided I didn't deserve it. That Jennifer deserved it more because she made bad choices and I made good ones. We're not asking you to give up everything, Jennifer sobbed. Just help us. You weren't asking, you were taking. There's a difference. I walked to the door. Dad followed. Sarah, if you walk out that door, you're walking out on this family. No, Dad. You walked out on me the moment you decided my money was up for grabs. I'm just finally noticing. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not protecting myself sooner. I left, got in my car, drove away while they stood in the doorway shouting. My phone exploded. Texts, calls, voicemails. I blocked every number. Then came the emails from extended family, family friends, people at their church, all telling me what a terrible daughter, sister, aunt I was. How family takes care of family. How I was greedy, selfish, cruel. I forwarded every single one to Richard and Sandra. Evidence, documentation, proof of the harassment campaign. London was a relief. I spent 10 days in meetings, networking, dining with colleagues who actually valued me for my skills rather than my bank account. I had 6 job offers by the end of the conference. 3 were from international firms. I took the one in Singapore, 2-year contract, $300,000 salary, full relocation package. When I came back to New York, I had 2 weeks to pack up my life. I told no one, not friends, not colleagues, not family. I hired movers, put my furniture in storage, sublet my apartment through a management company. I left one letter, addressed to my parents, delivered by courier the day I boarded my flight. Inside, you raised me to value hard work, education, and personal responsibility. I took those lessons seriously. I worked 3 jobs through college. I lived below my means for years. I invested wisely. I built something. You taught me that family was important, that we take care of each other. I believed that too. But what I learned at Thanksgiving is that to you, family means something different. It means the successful ones sacrifice, so the unsuccessful ones don't have to face consequences. It means my achievements are communal property, but Jennifer's failures are hers alone to make. You didn't ask me for help. You planned to steal from me. You would have if I hadn't overheard. And when confronted, you didn't apologize. You doubled down, told me I was obligated to give what you planned to take. I'm not obligated to fund your lifestyle. I'm not obligated to fix Jennifer's mistakes. I'm not obligated to set myself on fire to keep you warm. I'm moving abroad. You won't know where. You won't have my number. You won't have my address. This is goodbye. Use the money you would have stolen from me to pay for therapy. All of you need it. Sarah, I landed in Singapore and turned off my old phone. Got a new number, new email, new everything, started fresh. 6 months in, I got a message on LinkedIn from Jennifer. Just one line: the bank foreclosed. We lost the house. The kids are devastated. I hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long time. Felt that old guilt trying to surface, that family obligation trying to reassert itself. Framed. Then I remembered standing in that hallway, hearing my mother plan to rob me. Remembered my father calling my hard-earned success luck. Remembered Jennifer's face, hopeful and greedy as they plotted. I didn't respond. Instead, I set up anonymous trust funds for each of the kids. $50,000 each, locked until they turned 21, not accessible by their parents. Managed by an international firm with instructions that the kids be told the money came from someone who wanted to invest in their future. It was more than their parents would have gotten from me, but it was for the kids, not for the people who tried to steal from me. I'm 35 now. I made senior partner at my firm in Singapore. I'm dating someone wonderful who thinks my boundaries are healthy, not selfish. I have friends who value me for who I am, not what I have. Sometimes I think about my family, wonder if they ever understood why I left. If they ever felt guilty about what they tried to do. Then I remember, they felt entitled to my money. They never felt guilty about the plan, only about getting caught. Every Thanksgiving, I donate $1,000 to a financial literacy nonprofit that teaches young people about money management and protecting their assets. I call it the Family Education Fund in my budget spreadsheet. It makes me smile every single time. 27 missed calls over those first 2 months. I should have answered just to hear them realize they'd gambled on my compliance and lost. But silence was louder than anything I could have said. They wanted my money. Instead, they got a lesson. Some people only love you for what they can take from you. And once you realize that, the only thing left to give them is distance. I gave them an ocean's worth. Best investment I ever made.